circle
Ravens.
back there. Let's move on to another winner from this game, and it's not any specific person, but it's pivotal plays from the impact players, the guys who make the plays when it really counts.
Yeah, pivotal plays from impact players. I think what defined this game the most to me were these big plays that were made by the biggest players on the team in the biggest moments in the game. They aren't called impact players for nothing, right? You typically need them to make impact plays in order to win the game. And time after time in week 2, the Titans saw one of their best players step up when they needed it most. So some notes on examples of this, right? The first impact play of the entire game for the Titans certainly felt like the most important play of the game at the time, at least the most needed one all day long. 3 drives into the game, Tennessee had just 8 yards of total offense, and they were down 11-0. Mike Vrabel said after the game that they were leaking oil and that we needed that play from him. The play in question, a 70-yard bomb on first down, and the player in question, Treylon Burks, right? That 70-yard completion connection between Ryan Tannehill and Treylon Burks was the first life that the Titans had on offense all day long. It was, I think, as much a sigh of relief in the Titans stadium as it was a cause for celebration, a moment of great excitement. That was the spark plug that got Tennessee on the board and back into the game, courtesy of one of their stars, right? And then their other star receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, had a relatively quiet day by box score scouting. If you just look at the box score, you say, hey, 4 receptions on 5 targets for 40 yards for DeAndre Hopkins. That's well below, the Hopkins standard statistically, but it was the way that he was utilized, the significance of the moments in which he contributed that shined so brightly, in my opinion. So twice the Titans faced pivotal third downs, and the man with the surest hands on the team, DeAndre Hopkins, came down with the ball for the first down conversion. Both plays extended drives that resulted in touchdowns. Obviously, they would have resulted differently if he had not made those conversions on such critical downs. And then in overtime, Hopkins comes up big for one final play to get the Titans firmly into field goal range as the rain began to pour. That was that moment where you're like, can they throw the ball? The ball is wet now. Can they kick from distance? It's a wet ball now. It's like things are slippery. Things are made more difficult. This is a problem. And DeAndre Hopkins and his very sure hands say, no, it's not. Let me get you comfortably inside of 45 yards so that you can feel better about making this game-winning kick. And that obviously gets them into range to win the game, and then they do. Those 3 plays arguably would have swung the game if any one of them went differently. Then you look at Ryan Tannehill. Came up big as well, hitting Treylon Burks, Chris Moore, deep downfield on those 2 explosive offensive plays. They capped off both of those drives with a touchdown. He ran through contact on the 12-yard read option touchdown, and then he hit Nick Westbrook-Ikhine in the end zone on third down with less than 3 minutes to go in the game to take the lead. I think people are going to kind of forget about how that moment the Titans are driving down the field. It's one of the first offensive drives in a couple of series where they are showing life. They get into the low red zone, and suddenly 2 Derrick Henry runs. They lose, I think, 3 net yards on those 2 runs, and you're under 2 minutes. You're not going to get the ball back. It's concerning. Ryan Tannehill steps back in a, I think, relatively obvious pass situation and hits Nick Westbrook-Ikhine for the easy touchdown. The Titans take the lead, which ultimately was necessary to get into overtime. Big plays from a big star. Let's look at the defense. A pair of huge sacks are the ones that come to mind for me. You have the Jeffrey Simmons sack in the first half this is the second half, I believe, that maintained the Titans' newfound momentum with a sack of Justin Herbert on 3rd and 6. Big drive-ending sack for the Titans. They had just taken the lead for the first time in the game, 17-14. And Simmons didn't allow the Chargers to answer. Got the ball back into the hand of his offense that was finding some rhythm. An even bigger sack, though, came at the end of the game, end of regulation, that is. It was the first impact play in a long time from Mr. Harold Landry, who was playing, of course, in his second game back from tearing his ACL last summer. With 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter, the Chargers had one last chance to win in regulation on 3rd and 3 from the Titans' 7-yard line. Herbert drops back, trying to make the deciding pass, put a dagger in the hearts of Titans fans on one final play from scrimmage. And then Landry breaks through with perfect timing. Hello, welcome back to the show. Takes him to the ground, forces LA to tie the game. and head into overtime. All of these things are the big plays from big players, impact plays from impact players that you have to have, especially on a team like this that we've talked about all summer, JT. Like, there's a little bit of a stars and scrubs build for this team. Like, it's very much predicated on their best players carrying in key moments. And today that was the case. Every single moment, every single nexus moment in this game hinged on the play of a Titan star, and they delivered. So I think that was the defining thing in this game to me.
Yeah, and then like you were saying to that point, like stars and scrubs, like the stars did come up, but then also there were a lot of supplemental players who really did make an impact, as Zedine points out. The Chris Moore catch was also huge in that game. Like you pointed out, NWI finding the soft spot there to get the touchdown, which, by the way, maybe
can I say real quick,
maybe
NWI?
We all deserve to give NWI an apology. As
Can we talk about this real quick? Just briefly. I feel like this is the right time to bring this up, JT. I tweeted this out a couple of minutes ago. I'm old enough to remember, JT. I'm guessing you are as well. Some smart people, more than one smart person, just a month ago during Titans training camp, talking about how I don't know. You're calling NWI a lock, Easton? What? Are you sure? Have you seen his contract? Have you heard how he's playing at training camp? Yes, I've seen the contract. Yes, I see him at training camp. He is a lock. The age-old adage, which I repeated multiple times in August. No matter how much you like NWI, the Titans like him twice as much. And through 2 games, apropos of nothing, here's where NWI stands in terms of production for this team. Pulling up the notes here. 10 targets. Second on the team to DeAndre Hopkins. 7 receptions through 2 games. Second on the team to DeAndre Hopkins, and 83 yards on those 7 receptions. Third on the team, just behind DeAndre Hopkins and barely behind Treylon Burks. And people were saying he wouldn't make the 53-man roster. Are you crazy? It was as dumb then as it is now. He's a good wide receiver 3, 4, 5. That's what he's always been. We've always talked about how the triage, forcing him into wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1. Yeah, he's going to suck. Of course. Like, he's got a hard ceiling, but when he's your wide receiver 3, even better wide receiver 4, even better wide receiver 5, you're going to like him there. And the Titans are liking him there. And he's a volume king right now. So lay off my guy NWI, okay?
Yeah, my bad. I'll take the L on that one. That's my bad. That's my bad there on that one. I'll put my hand up.
All right. Hey, no, we appreciate the accountability.